Is there going to be a recession in 2020? You're not alone if you belong to the category of those asking this question. The issue of recession has been brought up by major financial news outlets and in economic discussions by analysts. You might ask, why now? Why is there much speculation about recession after a decade of economic growth, also called the bull period, in stock market terminology? More so, how can you survive a recession when it finally comes? Since the 2007 to 2009 stock market crash, the US and a major part of the world have enjoyed an unprecedented rise in economic growth for the past 10 years. Sadly, some economists fear that this period of economic expansion is about to come to an end. According to the Conference Board, a nonprofit economic watchdog with near-accurate predictions on recession, the global economy weakened by 2.3% in 2019. Although the report ended on a positive tone, it's vital for you to get prepared in case things go sideways. Hold on. How do you know a recession is just around the corner? Well, here are a few pointers to watch out for. Number 1. When the economy seems shaky, most consumers become tight-fisted. On the other hand, they spend more when the economy seems great. According to the Conference Board, consumer spending is at a decade low, with a 15% drop in consumer spending power. Number 2, the second and quite obvious pointer is the rising unemployment rate. According to this economic watchdog, in the third quarter of 2019, the current rate of unemployment is at its lowest point in 50 years. Now, that's something to be worried about. Want more concrete pointers to predict a recession? Well, the next pointer will surely do the trick. Number 3, recession might just be around the corner when you notice weird interest rates on Treasury notes. This happens when the U.S. Treasury notes interest starts acting weird. Here's an example. By all accounts, a 10-year Treasury note should yield more interest than a 1-year or 2-year note. The reverse is, however, the case when there's an impending recession. Long-term yields have lower interest rates and short-term ones. Other signs of an impending recession include: Number 1, less factory activities. Number 2, less job opportunities for temp workers. Number 3, low car sales. For an average American, car purchases are an indication of a strong economy. Therefore, a decrease in the rate of car sales is an indication of an impending recession. Number 4, the stock market trend is also an indication of a recession. Mind you, this is an unstable parameter due to the volatility of stock prices. A temporary drop in stock prices are often followed by sharp spikes. However, it can indicate a recession when there's a prolonged drop in stock prices. Yes, these signs are there, and there's almost nothing we can do to stop a recession. However, you can stay afloat and still live comfortably during these trying times. In this video, we'll show you a series of methods to help you survive in a recession. Number 1, start or top up your emergency fund. The first method we'll recommend is to start an emergency fund. Here's a question for you. For how long can you survive on your current savings? A month? 2? Perhaps a year? Well, irrespective of the duration, it's time to raise the bar. The goal is to save as much as you can in a short time frame. Start saving a little extra cash to create a financial cushion against recession. Set a target amount for your emergency funds and figure out how much you'll set aside to achieve that goal. If this seems a little difficult for you, I'll recommend taking advantage of money-saving apps like Stash or Acorns. Stash, for instance, enables you to invest in a series of investment portfolios. Number 2, get a side gig. The second method is to get a side gig. What do you do when you lose your job and there's little to no chance of quickly securing another? Well, that's what happens in recessions. No job is truly secured, and you might be the next victim. In fact, millions of Americans lost their homes, cars, and even jobs in the last recession. According to GoBanking Rates survey, 2/3 of Americans and most people in other parts of the world are unprepared for another recession. So it's time to diversify your income stream before the next recession hits. Thankfully, there are many gigs for you to try out. You can also check our video on earning online income to get started. Check the link in the section below. Number 3, pay your high-interest debts. Frankly, high-interest debts like credit card loans are more trouble than they're worth. With interest rates as high as 13% or even 16% for travel-related credit cards, you need to jump off from this sinking ship before recession hits. Start with the high-interest debts since they're the more difficult ones to settle once recession hits. Gradually work your way down to settle the low-interest debts if you still have enough to spare. No doubt this is quite difficult since you're also saving money for emergencies. So, how can you balance these methods and still stay afloat during recession? Well, number 4, cut back on some expenses. The answer lies in cutting back on your expenses. According to surveys, most of the things we purchase are often of no benefit to our immediate needs. To survive a recession, it's imperative to cut back on those expenses that don't revolve around your basic needs. Take a look at your monthly budget again and practice the process of elimination. Switch to less expensive options if you can't completely cut an item out. Think about getting a roommate to offset some of your accommodation cost. Think of more ways to reduce the clutter in your budget, and you'll thrive through the recession. Number 5, increase your value in your workplace. Do you know the first set of people to go during a layoff? Those with no meaningful contribution to the growth or productivity are usually the first to get the boot. To avoid such a scenario, it's time to boost your value in your workplace. Improve your interaction and contributions in company-related projects. Build a great communication network with your superiors and colleagues. Don't become a sycophant in the process. Add real value by acquiring new skills and opportunities. Number 6, improve your credit score. Wait a minute. How does boosting a credit score help during a recession? To many, this seems like a silly idea. So, here's a question for you. What if you're about to make a huge purchase right in the middle of a recession? In fact, procuring a property during recession is one of the best decisions you can ever make. Why? Prices are less competitive and lower during an economic downturn. However, getting a loan during this period is quite difficult, and only a high credit score can make it possible to procure one. Most loan facilities only lend money to the strongest borrowers, so boost your credit scores and improve your chances of getting loans during this period. Number 7, make changes to your investment portfolio. At the beginning of a recession, your first instinct is to sell your stocks and move on. Hold on, don't do that yet. First, consider the following before selling your stocks or cashing out your 401k portfolio. Are you close to your retirement age? And are you heavily invested in stocks? If you're close to retirement, consider moving your funds to bonds. This will act as a stopgap against the volatility of investment portfolios during recession. Don't get carried away by this strategy. First, calculate the number of years you have until retirement. It's best to keep your investment portfolio if your retirement age is far off. Since recessions rarely last for more than a few years, you stand a chance of reaping much revenues when stock prices recover. Wrapping up, recessions are bound to happen. Thankfully, you don't need to worry, since these tips will help you build a solid financial foundation irrespective of the economic forecast. So take the step and secure your future. Do you want more insightful and educational videos like this? Kindly subscribe to our channel for more contents.